Let's talk about Google Maps for a minute, shall we? We all know how to use Google Maps. How do I get to the local pizza parlor? Well, I pull out my phone and I say, okay, Google, directions to the nearest pizza parlor. And that works great. But how can we use it in the classroom? The directions to the nearest pizza parlor aren't exactly curriculum material. Well, I have a map here that some students created about the Civil War. And if you can see, I can click on these different icons and it'll tell me a little bit about various battles in the Civil War. This is the Second Battle of Bull Run, and down here we have the Battle of Hampton Roads, and so on. And so the place markers tell me a little bit about the battle, and it tells me the location and the name of the battle, and in some cases, like this one, it has a little picture of what the battle was like. Having students create maps like this in the classroom allows them to work collaboratively with other students, and it also allows them to create real-world authentic documents that they can share out with the rest of the world or with just the school, however you want to use the tool. So let's talk about how to create this. This map was created collaboratively by a group of people, and we used a spreadsheet to do that. That's right, we used a spreadsheet to create a map. In order to do that, I went to Google, regular old Google. Looks like it's a special day. Oh, it's Earth Day today. I went to Google. I'm signed in. I know I'm signed in because I could see my name here in the pretty picture of myself. And I go up here to the waffle. And in the waffle, I'm going to click on Sheets. Sheets is a spreadsheet. And once I get to Sheets, I'm going to start a new spreadsheet. So I'm going to start by naming my spreadsheet. I'm going to call it Civil War. And I'm going to start putting these columns in. The first thing in column A, I'm going to call it Battle Name. And in this column, I'm going to have people fill out, enter the name of the battle that they're going to talk about on their map. I could do this collaboratively, where I share this spreadsheet with several people, or I could do it individually, where I alone am going to do this. It doesn't matter which way I do it, it's up to you. So, column A is going to be battle name. Column B is going to be location. In the location column, I'm going to put the coordinates, the geographic coordinates of each of the battles that I'm going to talk about. In column C, I'm going to put description. And in this column, I'm going to put in paragraph form whatever it is I want the place marker on the map to say. So here I have the first row of my spreadsheet completed, my first row of data. In column A, I typed in the first Battle of Bull Run. In column B, I typed in the geographic coordinates of that battle. And in column C, I typed in a paragraph or so description of what that battle was. Now, the important part here is the location, because this is how Google Maps is going to create your map. So it's important that you have the coordinates here. How do I get those coordinates? Well, the easiest way to do it is to go to Google. I searched for the Second Battle of Bull Run. And right down here on the second entry is the Wikipedia entry, and I went there. Now, you might say, wait a minute, Mark. We tell our kids to not use Wikipedia for information because it's not trustworthy. Well, that's really great. But what I'm going to do is grab the data off of here, and then I'm going to verify it. I'm going to have students pick the data and then use critical thinking skills to make sure that that data is accurate. On the Second Battle of Bull Run entry in Wikipedia, if you look over here on the right, you will see the coordinates for where that battle is. And all you have to do is highlight it and copy it. The coordinates are also up here in the top of the page, but these ones are a little bit trickier in terms of copy and pasting. You can go ahead and click on it, and it will take you to another site, the GeoHack site, where you can go ahead and copy and paste the coordinates from here. While we're here, this is a good place to start to check the data. If you notice over here on the map, you can see where those coordinates are. And in this case, you can see it's on the eastern coast of the United States. There's your first check about how authentic how accurate this data is. If this red dot is down here in Australia or Africa or something, you'll know, hey, that's really not about the American Civil War. So that's just the first flag. So I copied and pasted that and put it on my spreadsheet. I then need to go ahead and continue copying and pasting the data for each of the rows however many battles I want to use my map on. Like I said earlier, this could be an individual activity where I'm doing all of this, or it could be a shared activity. You could click on the share button, and a student can share this spreadsheet with other classmates just like a Google Doc. Or you can start the spreadsheet and share it with your students just like a Google Doc. The trick is to decide whether make sure the students can edit the document as well as just view it or comment on it. You want them to edit. You'll type in their username, edit, done. Those students have it. So the next step, continue the spreadsheet. So here I have 3 different battles that I've set up in my spreadsheet. 3 significant battles in the Civil War. I've got the name of the battle, I've got the location of the battle in coordinate form, and I've got a description. Now you could use physical addresses for the location, so you'd have one column that's the street address and one the city and the state. But for this particular example, I think the coordinates are going to work better. So since this is a Google product, a Google spreadsheet, I don't even have to worry about saving this. I just have it here, and I'm going to head on over to Google Maps for the next step. Now to get to Google Maps, you could either use the waffle up here and find maps, or you could go up into the address bar and type maps.google.com, and you'll end up here in Google Maps. Now the problem is you don't see anywhere on here on how to create your own map. So in order to do that, you got to get to the thing called My Maps. And to get there, you have to go up here in the upper left to this either hot dog or hamburger, depending on who you hang out with. And if you click on that, about halfway down, you're going to see My Maps. I'll click on that. And now suddenly I have the ability to create my own maps. Way down here at the bottom, you'll see one called Create Map. I'll click on that, and that's going to create this really cool untitled map. I happen to be in the United States, so it by default goes there. We got our data in a spreadsheet, so we need to bring that spreadsheet into the map. I'm going to do that with this import button. And the import button is going to allow me to upload a CSV file, or I can click on Google Drive, and it's going to automatically go over to my drive, and I'm going to be able to find the Civil War data that we have created. It's going to filter out everything that's not a spreadsheet, and this is the data that we just created. So I'm going to click on that and hit select, and it's going to automatically bring up all of this data. It's going to ask me a couple things. I love how Google fetches things. It doesn't go get it, it fetches it. The first dialog box that it's asking me for is which of the columns has the location description. And I have to remember my spreadsheet, but I do remember that it's the location column. And is it longitude or latitude? Which of these 2 orders is it? And then the next column is what are we going to use as the title for the place markers? In this case, it's going to be the battle name. And there we are. I have a map now that has my 3 place markers. One of them's up here. Let me move the map down a little bit and you can see it. One of them's up here, one of them's here, one of them's here. If I click on it, it has the name of the battle and the description that I typed in. I click on it, it has the name of the battle, the location, and the description that I typed in. One of the things that I need to do better at myself is titling these maps. I'm going to click on Untitled Map, and it's going to give me the opportunity to give it a name. I'll call it Civil War Example. I should type a little description in it and tell it save. One last thing for the actual place markers. I'm going to click on this one here, the first Battle of Bull Run, and I'm going to highlight the name and copy it, Control C. I want to add a picture to this place marker. I don't believe I can add the picture in the spreadsheet, but if I click on this camera here at the bottom and I go to Google Image Search and I paste in the name of the battle and search, it will give me a bunch of different picture examples I can use about that battle. I'm going to select this one here. While I'm here, take a look at this. I could add a YouTube video in my place marker. So I could, in theory, have my kids record themselves talking about that particular place marker and embed that video into the place marker. And that gets really, really powerful if you start going down that road and getting students to actually speak on their maps. Very cool stuff. But I'm just going to put this image on this place marker and save it. Make sure you save it. It's a Google product here, but you still have to save that image or it's not going to be there. One last thing, you are able to create different layers on this map. And what that means is you can add different spreadsheets. You can only have one spreadsheet per layer, but you can have multiple layers. So for example, you might be talking about World War II, and you'll have one group of kids working on the Western Front, another group of kids working on the Eastern Front, and maybe a group of kids working on the war in the Pacific. And so you'd have 3 separate spreadsheets for 3 different facets of the same event being World War II. And those kids can collaboratively work. They can work individually on their different aspects of it and bring it all back into one map by using this add layer feature. And then, of course, there's the share. Your students creating the map are going to need to share it with you. They click on share and they invite you using your username. Piece of cake. That's all there is to it, to creating a map in Google Maps.